It is quick, though. See you at Indy.
For this guy,
Of course, caution here at Surfers Paradise, Australia, and it gives us a chance to look at another story making news in the IndyCars during the past week. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway issued a press release saying that there is the possibility they will create a whole new IndyCar series within the next 2 years. The Speedway president, Tony George, indicates he is dissatisfied with the current course of IndyCar racing. All other details will come out after this year's Indianapolis 500.
Well, I don't know that it'll actually be new in that, it'll be totally different from what we have today. But I think, obviously, I have some strong feelings that I would like one last chance at trying to impress upon the kart organization, see if we can't, go forward together. But in the event that's not possible, then maybe an entirely new series with more of an American flavor would be the result.
From IndyCar's point of view, it wasn't entirely a surprise. Certainly over the last few months, and indeed last couple of years, there has been a growing gap, if you like, in the philosophy between ourselves and the philosophy of the Speedway. So from our point of view, while we were perhaps surprised by the timing of the announcement, the direction and the content of the announcement was something which perhaps we'd already anticipated.
The IndyCar owners declined comment on the Speedway's press release. But IndyCar President and Chief Executive Officer Andrew Craig says he hopes to schedule a meeting with Tony George soon.
My intention is to meet with Tony at the earliest possible stage to discuss with him what the issues are, what his concerns are. And I know he has very sincerely held views on this issue. To meet with him and to see if we can find common ground between the parties.
Well, I think it's been said before. I think we just need to talking about expanding internationally and everything. And I think you would want to expand with a grassroots program, something that you can be proud of exporting. So I think oval racing is considered Americana, and that's what we should, in my opinion, be trying to perfect and then export.
Whatever the outcome, it could drastically affect what we know as IndyCar racing in the future, so we'll keep track of this story. Now, after another lengthy delay, the cars are rolling again. All those involved in the accident were able to get going again. You can see the circuit has dried, but you can also see on Mansell's car there that there's rain tires. So the expectation is that they will start, do a lap, and then everyone will head into the pits. But Michael's rolling well out in front.
Well, he certainly is. He wasn't going to let Nigel jump him like he did the last time. He's getting ready for it. And then Nigel, of all things, has slowed way down almost to the point of making Michael wonder what's happening.
At the head of the pit straight, the field comes down again. Johnny Rutherford drives the pace car, pulls it for the pit area. Now, once again, we are ready for the first green flag of the season. They're well bunched up behind him, almost uncomfortably close. Green flag is out.
Incredibly volatile situation headed into turn one on these rain tires on a dry track. Very tricky stuff.
Well, Sam, it won't be bad while they don't have them all hot and broke in yet. It'll be real good right now for the first lap.
Boy, if they get through there with no contact, I'll be amazed. I think we saw some just before we changed pictures anyway.
Round two.
Nigel Mansell comes out in front, and yep, they've jammed it up again. Almost the same group. And they've got the course blocked, and that's probably going to mean a red flag.
Well, I think all the tension that we've had all day from all the delays has just got everybody up too tight. They're just all trying too hard.
Right now, we're back on a full course yellow. Look at this. Paul Tracy into the barrier. First lap, first race.
They almost got hit by some of the cars coming by. Notice Adrian Fernandez got out and almost touched him there.
Full course yellow is out. They'll acknowledge that when they get back to the start-finish line again. See Michael sitting out in front there. He got past Nigel Mansell. Now you're looking backwards from Michael's car. He apparently got past him just before the full course yellow came out. So Let's take a look at Bobby Rahal's car. See the nose of Bobby Rahal's car.
Good.
And Rahal got the barrier as well.
On his own from the look of it.
And now the field comes into the pits just as anticipated. Now, we're under a full course yellow. They will no doubt all come over to dry tires. What a confusing start of this, the first race of the year. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Michael Andretti's crew for Chip Ganassi getting their first true pit stop competition of the year. They're making a change to the dry. No fuel. Now he's out of here, Paul. We got him in just 12 seconds. Let's go to Jack.
Well, Nigel Mansell had to light up the tires, and he almost stalled the car, Gary, as he completed his 4-tire change. He is on slicks also.
Michael has come down into the first chicane area, which just follows the pits. That's where the accident involving the 2 cars that you see there occurred. There's Bosel's yellow and black car.
Raul's out of that car.
He's out of that. Here's another look.
Then Pedro up on the grass on the inside as he gets into Bosel. It kicks Mario sideways. Robbie Buell comes around the outside. Davy Jones gets in there.
In the black car up against the wall.
The culprit of that whole thing was then Pedro. He just went in there too fast, and he could see nobody was going to be able to get out of the way, and he just started knocking one, and one knocks the other one. It's like a bowling alley after a while.
Well, that's the tricky thing about driving on wet tires on dry pavement. You just don't have the grip you expect. That's a look at Hero's car.
Paul Tracy still sitting on the course, hoping that he will get some sort of toe in.
He's got an engine down. Obviously, he killed the engine, couldn't get the clutch in, and that's what Davy Jones is raising Keen about there. He wants somebody to give him a push so he can get the engine lit up.
This has been a terrible weekend for Davy Jones. 2 crashes.
There's Tracy telling somebody, come on, give me a push, because he needs his engine started, because they come back around on him, he's going to start going down a lap, and that's really going to hurt him.
Confusion. It looks like they pushed the rear wing off of Hero's car. Tracy still sits by the edge of the course, and there's nobody there to help him.
This was the trademark of Paul Tracy's year last year. Crashes and trouble. It kept him from winning the championship, even though he won as many races as Nigel Mansell did. His history repeating itself.
And even if they get him running, Sam, it looks like the right front wing has been on Tracy's car. I noticed that up against the tire. So that'll mean another pit stop for him, even if they get him going.
Well, you talk about confusion. Well, Michael will lead the field back when they finally are able to lead them back, followed by Mansell, Fittipaldi, Al Unser Jr., Stefan Johansson, Robbie Gordon, then Jimmy Vasser, Teo Fabi, Ari Luyendyk, and Mario Andretti. That rounds off the top 10.
There's Mark Smith. That's one of the new paint jobs for this year.
Finally, Paul Tracy gets a little help. Let's get an update. Here's Jack.
Gary Gerald was talking about some of the problems with Michael Andretti coming in and taking on slicks. Listen to this problem for Team Penske. Here is the front nose piece off of Al Unser Jr.'s car. When they came in, they took on slicks, and they also had to change the front nose piece. They accomplished all of that. In just the amount of time that it took to change 4 tires.
They're still trying to get Paul Tracy rolling on the circuit, and they do have to be careful. That wing will take a lot of pushing, but it's not really designed to be pushed from the back. Boy, look at him line it up. Tracy wants back into the fight.
But he also doesn't have a bent right front wing.
All right, this was Michael's move on Nigel during that accident on the first lap.
Wow. Nigel.
Right by the outside of him.
When you think
by now, he's on the curb.
Bobby, think what this means for the season. Nigel was passed how many times last year? Not very often.
Well, Sammy was passed on the outside. That's what was really a good pass.
So Paul Tracy tries to catch up with the rest of the field so that he can get back into the fight, while Michael Andretti has the lead on a very confused and heavily delayed start here at Surfers Paradise. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Paradise at the Marriott Hotel have spent $8 million on what they call an aquatic playground. It's magnificent. We did some diving there. It's a gigantic pool all around, a man-made beach. It's just unbelievable. Most of the drivers and some of the TV people have stayed at this hotel just a couple of 100 feet off of one of the turns here on the track. Now, we're ready to go once again under full course yellow still at the moment. Mario Andretti will lead it. On the pit stops, Emerson Fittipaldi moved into second place, and Nigel Mansell is third. Out of the race, Raul Boesel and Bobby Rahal, who's with Jack Arute.
Well, Bobby Rahal, it's not the way you wanted 1994 to start. What happened?
Just is chaos down there, and I think I just got a little bit of a nudge into somebody, and I broke the wing off, and we've got these wires that hold the wing up because they're flexing, and unfortunately things, it broke the wing, but the wing got stuck under the tire, and I go into the next corner, turn right, and it went straight. So it's unfortunately the car's bent suspension. That's that.
Now the pressure goes on your teammate Mike Groff to try and race-proof this Honda engine.
Oh, I think it's race proven. I'll be cheering for him. I saw he must have had a problem too because he's back. It was just everybody doesn't remember that you got to get through the first corner, I guess.
Paul?
Yeah, Bobby's right. A very confusing start. And I think a lot of people anxious with the long delays here and the fact that it is the first race of the season. So now Michael leads them back. Fittipaldi followed by Mansell, followed by Robbie Gordon and Al Unser Jr. As we're back racing once again. Single file this time. Should be a little safer going into the first chicane. Fittipaldi closes in. Robbie Gordon begins to attack at the back of Mansell. You're on board with Mansell. That's Fittipaldi and Michael just ahead.
You notice on the start that Michael really tried to get a jump on him. He realizes that if they can't get away and get past the start of this race, they're not going to have a very long race. So he tried extra hard and he made it.
Number 9 car, that's Robbie Gordon. New team, Derek Walker Racing this year.
Gordon finished third here last year for A.J. Foyt, and he's really pushing hard, but he's had gearbox trouble all weekend, and they've got a part in that gearbox they're worried about.
Gordon comes up to do battle with Nigel Mansell, moves to the inside. Can he outbreak him? He gets the job done, and Robbie Gordon gets past Mansell. Mansell to fourth.
Nigel Mansell has dropped 3 places from the top of the grid to 4th place in just 3 racing laps.
That looks like one of the passes that Robbie Gordon did on Nigel Mansell that Mansell did last year, right at the same racetrack in the same place. Really a good pass. Shows a lot of talent.
Now Robbie Gordon is at the back of Fittipaldi. Michael runs alone. Here's that pass once again. Look at Gordon. Mansell very wisely, first of all, starts to turn in, then decides he's going to radius just outside him.
And keep in mind, Mansell, it looks like he doesn't seem till kind of late, but you got to remember, the helmets don't have good side visibility on him. He started to turn in, saw him, and straightened it out real quick. Shows that Mansell's pretty sharp, too.
First 4 run together. Gordon's broken it off for the moment in his battle with Fittipaldi. On board with Robbie Gordon now.
Gordon had a very big crash in testing at Phoenix, and it's only in the last few days that he's really been feeling well. He went out horseback riding, got thrown off the horse as it roared through the underbrush, but he seems to be okay now.
Into the record book, a 65-lap race here in Australia as Robbie Gordon continues to chase down Emerson Fittipaldi just ahead.
The angry clouds you see sit out over the Pacific on the eastern side of the track. They're headed north here now.
Robbie Gordon is adapted to this racetrack very well. That's him right there in the Cummins car, the Valvoline. And he just really does well at this track. I don't know why he shines here so much better, but last year he was absolutely second only to Nigel Mansell.
Boy, look at him come up over the curbs now. They've been cautioned that they're not to get too far over those curbs. And of course there was that spectacular photograph of Michael during qualifying yesterday where he went airborne over one of those curbs. You're looking back from Michael's car now.
This is the tight, twisty section at the north end of the track. When you stand out there as a spectator, and of course it's a full house here today, the cars sound just terrific with the exhaust echoing off those tall buildings.
That's Emerson Fittipaldi behind Michael, and you can see how much difference it gets in the straightaways, but watch how close it gets in the corner. Makes it look like Michael's running away, but he really isn't that far.
Michael is running with a Ford engine, Emerson with an Ilmore, and Emerson said yesterday he felt the Ilmore might be a little